No
That's
pressure.
what the clock in there
No,
says.
exactly. Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order, open regular city council successor agenda housing authority meeting of January 26, 2026. And the time is 5 o'clock. Can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Miller,
Here.
Councilmember Thorpe,
Here.
Councilmember Woolsey,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Beaver,
Here.
Mayor Venable,
Here.
all present.
All right. At this time, we'll go to closed session.
Thank you.
And the time is 5:01.
Thank you. Test, 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 test. Test, test, test.
Good evening.
For this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to gather in this place at the heart of our city to do the business that you've laid before us to do. God, I pray tonight that your wisdom would rest on each one of our council members, each person who speaks, those who represent us in our community. And God, that we would do the best for the citizens of this great town, and God, that ultimately there would be just a great sense of accomplishment through what happens in this place tonight. Send your calm and your peace on us now. We pray it in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Put your hand across your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller,
Here.
Councilmember Thorpe,
Here.
Councilmember Woolsey,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Beaver,
Here.
Mayor Venable,
Here.
all present.
All right. So does the city attorney have anything to report out from closed session?
I do, Mayor. On item C, which is the Royal Pacific Funding Corporation judicial foreclosure of 12606 Second Street, the city council gave settlement direction by consensus. That's the end of the closed session report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right. City manager, is there any changes to the agenda?
Mayor, Council, no changes to the agenda. Thank you.
All right. So, Miss Megan?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce who couldn't make it this evening, but the City Council has a proclamation that I want to talk a little bit about. The City of Yucaipa proudly announces a new initiative encouraging residents and visitors to support our local economy by shopping small and shopping local every Wednesday. Through this proclamation, Wednesdays are officially recognized as Small Shop Local Wednesdays, highlighting the vital role small businesses play in the character, economy, and community spirit of Yucaipa. Participating local businesses will show their appreciation by offering special discounts or incentives to customers who choose to shop locally on these days. In partnership with the city, the Yucaipa Valley Chamber of Commerce will work to identify and compile a list of local businesses interested in participating and will assist in publishing and promoting the list to the community. This initiative reinforces Yucaipa's commitment to supporting small businesses, strengthening community connections, and keeping local dollars invested right here at home. Thank you.
All right. We got a proclamation. Excuse me, sorry. So the city of Yucaipa, the City Council of the City of Yucaipa, California, do hereby recognize every Wednesday as Shop Local Small Business Wednesday on this 26th day of January, 2026. And in doing so, we encourage residents and visitors to support small businesses and merchants throughout the year. All right. Okay. Thank you, Megan. All right. Measure S, citizens.
The chair of the Measure S Oversight Committee, Mr. Craig Franklin, is going to provide that presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. White. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is Greg Franklin, and tonight I'm here representing the Measure S Oversight Committee. Measure S is the result of the sales tax measure that the voters approved a year ago. The committee, once again, the committee members include myself, Denise Allen, Dr. Hanson Wong, Kevin Gregory, and Kenny Wilson, just for the record. And it is certainly our pleasure to serve in this capacity. And we again thank you for the opportunity to do so. Tonight we want to provide a brief update on the results of the measure to date. The purpose of the Citizen Oversight Committee is to independently review and advise the City Council upon the city's expenditure of proceeds that are generated by the transaction and use tax. The committee is advisory in nature, in that we don't have the authority to make decisions on how the money is spent, but we do we have the responsibility to advise council to the best of our ability relative to the tax proceeds that are collected as a result of the measure. So the committee is tasked with reviewing and reporting on the city's expenditures, the expenditure plan, and for the additional sales tax revenue. In addition, we will review the inflow of this revenue quarterly in coordination with the reports that come out from the city's sales tax consultants. So in essence, the committee was created to provide a level of assurance to the public and to the council that the proceeds from the measure are spent consistent with the intent of the measure, which was approved by the voters. So what is that intent? And I want to read this intent. This is what was presented to the voters a year ago. The ballot measure specifically stated that the intent of the measure was to raise revenue to prevent reducing police officers, firefighters, paramedics, fire stations, and to maintain other essential services, including 911 response, property crime and gang prevention, senior, youth, and after-school programs, homelessness prevention, street and pothole repair, and for general government use. So it's a catch-all of a lot of things that are on that list. So basically, it's a quality of life and the community well-being. And the community appreciates that, and that's why they supported that measure. So with that bit of review, I want to make just a few brief comments. One, the committee meets quarterly. Some have asked at times, well, do they even meet? What do they do? What's the purpose of this committee? I've laid out the purpose for you, but I want to mention that the committee does meet quarterly. We've had 3 meetings to date. The measure is relatively new, so we've only had 3 meetings. But this is to coincide with the receipt of the reports that the sales tax consultant presents quarterly. These meetings are noticed to the public and are recorded. So if you want to listen to a riveting discussion on the calculation of sales taxes, you have that opportunity. Number 2, we have a very engaged committee, and that takes this assignment very seriously. And if you attend one of those meetings, you'll know what I'm talking about. In fact, several of our committee members, if not all of them, are present at this meeting tonight. Number 3, this is important. The city is functioning within the balanced budget that was approved by council back in June 25. The expenditure plan, in our opinion, is consistent with the intent of the voters, specifically as it relates to Measure S. Number 4, the budget includes, you may recall, the budget includes an estimate in the amount of $6 million as a budget revenue estimate for the collection of these additional sales taxes. Number 5, while it is certainly premature, and I want to make sure that I state that clearly, premature, it's too early to say we have determined a trend in our collections, but we are pleased to report that it appears that the revenues generated from Measure S will meet the original estimates and will likely even outperform those estimates. So that's the good news. So why do we think this? Like I mentioned, we've met 3 times. The first time we met, we didn't have any sales tax data to review, so we had nothing. So all we could do was look at the expenditure plan. The second meeting was in August, and the only data that we received at that point was from the state of California, and it was totally in error. They overpaid us by several $1 million, and the data was false, and the data was bad, and so that wasn't useful to us, and that money had to get repaid. So the third meeting was in November. So the first meeting we had nothing to look at. The second meeting we had bad data. The third meeting we had pretty accurate data. When I say pretty accurate, I mean Mr. White has a list of 3 pages of corrections from the sales tax consultant. So when all that is said and done, the information is pretty good. So we now have data in November that we can evaluate, and it appears to be accurate. The first quarter with that solid data was the last one we looked at, indicates that Measure S proceeds will actually exceed our original sales tax projections by almost 40%. Substantial. The second quarter data indicates that Measure S proceeds will exceed the normal sales tax by almost 60%. So on average, 50%. That's not much data to really develop a trend, but it is likely that the sales tax data, as a result of the Measure S, will exceed by $2 or $3 million annually, which is great news. I've presented many budgets to the City Council and have not always had the opportunity to present this kind of good news. Your staff will present more details as you proceed into your strategic planning process for your upcoming budget cycle. In the meantime, the committee will continue to meet quarterly, review the reports as the sales tax consultants present them, and we will present information to the City Council as it is appropriate. I want to thank Mr. White and Ms. Sauceda for the gracious and professional manner in which they assist our committee, so thank you. And this concludes our presentation. We're happy to address any questions that you might have.
You have questions?
When is the date for the next meeting?
February 18, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And thank you for joining us.
Huh?
That's a treat.
Bob? All right, well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Good news. All right, now we'll go to public safety update. Captain?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to give two updates for November of 25 and December of 25. So to begin with November of 25, our calls for service, we had 3,045 in November. We maintained a 5-minute average response time to emergency calls. Peak call times are Sunday through Tuesday afternoons, which is consistent. For Part 1 crimes, we had 0 homicides, 1 reported rape, 1 robbery, 33 aggravated assaults, 3 burglaries, 18 larcenies, 2 vehicle thefts. For arrests, we had 71 arrests. 49 were adult bookings into one of our correctional facilities. Most common arrests were narcotic-related offenses, warrant arrests, trespass violation or offenses, and domestic violence incidents. For our Traffic Enforcement Division, we issued 113 traffic citations and 21 traffic accident investigations. We had 6 DUI arrests in November. Our solution-oriented policing team had 28 transient calls for service in November, 6 complaints, tips via the Yucaipa app, 1 subject accepted assistance or information, and 1 was accepted placement. We had 40-plus park patrols or property checks, and we continued collaboration with local business owners and managers and added 26 new letters of agency. Any questions on November? We'll move into December. So for December, we had 3,409 calls for service, maintained a 5-minute average response time to emergency calls. Peak call times are Sunday through Tuesday afternoons. For our Part 1 crimes, 0 homicides, 1 reported rape, 1 robbery, 19 aggravated assaults, 13 burglaries, 18 larceny or thefts, and 7 motor vehicle thefts. As far as arrests, we had 72 arrests, 60 of which were booked into one of our correctional facilities. Most common arrests were narcotic related offenses, warrant arrests, trespass offenses, and domestic violence incidents. For our traffic division, we issued 126 traffic citations and 17 traffic accident investigations and 6 DUI arrests. Regarding the solution-oriented policing team, we had 26 transient calls for service in November, 3 complaints via the Yucaipa app in December, 2 subjects accepted assistance, and 1 accepted placement. Again, 40-plus park patrols, vacant property crimes, and continued collaboration with local businesses, where 34 new letters of agency were added. And lastly, I just wanted to highlight, sometimes I get questions about what the SOP team does, and their primary goal is to check our homeless population if we have any in the area, and stuff like that. Another thing that they do is they look at some of our problem areas, and they maintain patrols in those areas. So on December 24th, the SOP team contacted this gentleman, Pablo Curiel. He was at the bus stop located at Yucaipa Boulevard and 14th, and during the contact, he was found to be reported AWOL by the California Department of State Hospitals. Records show that he was convicted of manslaughter in '96 and was deemed mentally incompetent, resulting in his continued commitment and supervision by the state hospital through June 28th of 2067. He is currently in a supervised step-down program in San Bernardino following his release from Patton State Hospital. He was transported back to San Bernardino and turned over to state hospital admin without further incident. So just wanted to give a quick highlight. Like I said, I get asked questions about what exactly SOP does. That's one of the very few things that they do. And lastly, any questions?
Any questions? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Chief?
Evening, Mayor and Council. This will be your December report. For December, we ran 676 calls for service. This number will still go up before we actually publish it, because we have to run all of our automatic age mutual aids. But it's going to be significantly more than last year, probably 10 to 12%. But it's already over 9,200 as we're compiling the stats. The holidays are a good time for us. We get to have all the Yucaipa High School law and public safety kids come out and ride on the fire engines. So when it looks like a 15-year-old kid's good enough to fire engines, they're not quite that young yet. They look like it, but yeah, those are teenagers getting into first responder jobs. So fun for them. They get to ride out on Thanksgiving break and Christmas break. Yucaipa Chamber breakfast. Of course, our Yucaipa Christmas parade, good-looking group up there. We did do our Toys for Yucaipa 2026. This was our largest year. We ended up doing over 1,250 kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not just in Yucaipa, but we supported some other cities locally too. So we took care of our own and then branched out and supported a couple hundred kids in other communities. Firefighter of the Year, Skip Miller, you guys were all there for that. We did graduate another paramedic students, so that's 600 volunteer hours. A lot of volunteer hours for our paramedic students. A lot goes into it, and to push these kids out of school. A lot of training, mostly paramedic stuff, some other stuff. And that's all I have for you for December. So,
All right. Any questions? John? All right, well, thank you. Now, code enforcement?
Good evening, Council, Honorable Mayor. I'll be presenting the code enforcement stats for the month of December. For the month of December, we had 21 new cases submitted, with 10 of those cases resolved by the end of the month. Some of the top cases include a lack of building permits, overgrown vegetation, trailer storage, and graffiti. And here's some before and after of the graffiti. In December, we had 20 inspections conducted, 20 total cases were closed out, and we received $2,600 in citation fees. For mobile home parks, we had 2 new cases opened. No comprehensive or poultry ranch inspections were conducted for this month. And I want to do a quick case highlight briefly. 12,000 block of 4th Street, code enforcement was contacted by San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department regarding a marijuana grow taking place at the property. A search warrant was obtained, allowed responding code enforcement officer Stanley entry, where he was able to find multiple violations, including signs of marijuana delivery business taking place at the residence, psilocybin mushrooms, and unpermitted construction. All marijuana plants and mushrooms were removed from the property by the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Yucaipa Code Enforcement Officer Stanley was able to get in contact with the property owner, who is currently working with the building department to get necessary permits and get the property back into compliance. And these are just some photos of the inside of the property. see the electrical modifications and the mushrooms and some of the marijuana found inside. And that's all I have.
That's great, thank you.
Questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, now to public comment.
Would you like a presentation on your stats for the Yucaipa mobile app before we move on to public comment?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that first. Sorry.
Quick presentation. So this is going to be your stats for the month of December for the Yucaipa mobile app. We had a total of 234 monthly users, 202 reported issues, and our top issue was streets. We had a slight decrease from November to December in total monthly users, but we did have an increase on the total issues submitted. Our number one issue was streets with 62 issues reported. Then we had 46 issues reported for graffiti and vandalism, and then code enforcement issues came in with 44 issues. Here's our response time, just over 5 days for street city issues, over 6 days for graffiti vandalism, and just over 4 days for code enforcement. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Now we can go to public comment, right? Thanks. Sorry.
It's okay. We'll start with Pastor Randy Balling, followed by Randy Main.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I want to thank you for the opportunity to present to you tonight, and I want to thank you for recognizing January as Human Trafficking Awareness Month here in Yucaipa. That was a proclamation made back in 2021, and I want to thank you for having the moral courage to do that. Human trafficking is one of those issues that many people assume just sort of happens somewhere else, in another country or a big city, or some dark corner that's away from all of us. But the truth is, it happens all over the place, in all kinds of communities, whether they be urban or suburban or rural. And of course, it often hides in plain sight. As one a special agent said to our church at Grace Point in a special presentation, if you have hotels in your city, human trafficking is happening. I'm proud to say that our San Bernardino County has a special task force for human trafficking, and they had a special operation called Disrupt the Demand in 2025, where they rescued 3 victims of human trafficking in just that one operation alone. And we know that human trafficking is not just kidnapping. Sometimes it involves force, fraud, or coercion, or targeting people who are vulnerable, youth, runaways, immigrants, the economically stressed, or those who are just longing for stability. We see victims controlled through fear, manipulation, or debt, emotional abuse, and many don't even identify them as victims at first. And that's why awareness matters. It needs to go beyond just In-N-Out Burger and dropping some change in there, though that, of course, helps. But awareness helps us recognize the signs, and I want to just remind us of a couple of them. Someone who seems controlled or afraid to speak, someone without access to their own ID or money, youth suddenly receiving expensive items from unknown adults, workers who live where they work and they cannot leave freely. Awareness doesn't always mean panic. It could just mean paying attention. And when a city names this issue, it sends a powerful message that we see it, we care, and that exploitation has no place in our community. So tonight I want to thank the council for having taken that step in 2021, because a declaration is more than words. It becomes an invitation. It becomes an invitation for parents to talk to their children, or educators to stay alert and vigilant, businesses to train employees, and neighbors to look out for one another. And for survivors, it tells them they're not invisible and that help does exist. So prevention starts with informed communities, and informed communities saves lives. Thank you for recognizing Human Trafficking Awareness Month and for your leadership in making Yucaipa a place where dignity, safety, and human worth truly matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Randy Main, followed by Hanson Wong.
And remember, we want to state your name and where your address is, please.
Randy Main, 13630 Second Street. And I meant to check the box for item 4, Mayor and Council. So I might be at the wrong time, am I?
Yes, sir, I can put your public comment card with the others, and we'll call you back up at item number 4.
Well, thank you kindly.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Hanson Wong, please.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you. Hanson Wong, District 1, Yucaipa. Couple items. The Saturday morning walks have been doing well, even with the inclement weather the other day. They still had a good representation. And it's at 8:30 on Saturday mornings if you want to join them in the community park. It has been supported by some local businesses and even businesses in Calamasa. Couple of them that have donated some services, including this soaring swine and monstrous subs and so on. So again, we encourage you to at least see what they do. We have some new businesses in town. I'm sure that someone else will mention, but there's a new Cajun Creole place called Bourbon. The main issue I want to talk about is electrical bikes. There has been some comments on social media and other places about electrical bikes in our community and the problems they cause. There was even one video, and I haven't verified it or asked our police department, but there was several people on electric bikes that was accosting a car and doing things that they shouldn't do. In addition, there have been comments about them on the sidewalks and so on, not wearing helmets, not following the laws. I'm going to be sending some messages to our state representatives to consider licensure of e-bike people. I mean, they can go 30, 35 miles an hour, which is like a moped or possibly a small motorcycle. And a lot of times the 8 or 9-year-old have not been taught by their parents, you know, what the rules of the street are and so on. So I think education is important. If the state is willing or if you have some way that you can do it to recommend licensure of e-bike riders that requires testing to know the rules. And at least they get some information whether they follow it or not. Anyway, it's just a consideration. I want to thank the City Council for being ahead of this, putting the ordinance in to, you know, address some of the problems, including some penalties for them not following. But I think we do need to educate the riders and try and make the parents aware that, you know, it's not just a bicycle that their young kids ride around in. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no more comment cards.
All right. Now off to the consent agenda. This is...
Conflict of interest.
I'm sorry. See, I'm falling apart today. Where am I? Oh, if anybody has any conflict or
Mr. Mayor,
interest or...
item number 4, I'll have to recuse myself when we come to that. It's dealing with a project that's within the 500 feet of my residence.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Now to the consent agenda. That's items 1 and 2. Anybody want to pull?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
Seconded.
We got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Now, item number 3, Megan Wolf. actually, Sarah.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I am here this evening to recommend the appointment of 3 teens to our Youth Advisory Committee. And with the recommended appointments this evening, we will have 1 remaining vacancy. So first, it is our pleasure to introduce Skylar, followed by Zoe, and last but not least will be Audrina.
Hello, I'm Skylar Miller, and I'd like to tell you a bit about myself. I would like to start with my thanks to my family to support me for doing the Youth Advisory Committee, especially my sister and brother who had both in it before me, and I saw how much it helped them make new friends and learn to be leaders above all else by helping out wherever they can. Some things about myself are that I play baseball, piano, and I go to youth group every Tuesday. I have hundreds of hours of community service through my years of school and other things like that. I am the kind of person that likes to get as many things done at once that is possible. And I love to help people out in any way because after all is over and done, it's not only about helping other people and making them feel good, it's about making yourself feel good about what you've done for them. I cannot wait to help out my community and get the opportunity to be on the Youth Advisory Committee. Thank you.
That's awesome. And I've known your parents for a long time.
Hello, my name is Zoe Slayton, and I'm an 11th grader at Yucaipa High School, where I've worked hard on my academics throughout my high school career, and I'm proud to say that I've maintained a 4.5 GPA and have earned both AP Writing Awards and Positive Admin Referral Awards. Being involved in both school and in my community has made me very passionate about learning how to make a difference within Yucaipa, and I'm involved in organizations such as the Health and Biomedical Science Academy, the Environmental Conservation and Humanitarian Outreach Club, and the YAPS Animal Shelter. Being in these communities has given me the ability to gain unique perspectives into all different demographics in the community, such as through the adoption events at YAPS and food drives within the Humanitarian Outreach Club. I'm also very passionate about health within my generation, and I've displayed this through health research projects in the academy, and additionally through humanitarian outreach in my club. I look forward to being able to foster connections between the youth as well as with other communities within Yucaipa on the advisory committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Audrina. I am a freshman at Sage Oak Charter School, and I'm proud to be serving on ASB this year, with special focus on the Staff and Student Appreciation Committee. Something I'm proud of is how involved I am in my school and community, even as a freshman. An accomplishment I've achieved is how I've stayed active in school and leadership after going through a major brain surgery this past March. Being part of ASB, clubs, music, and volunteering has helped me grow as a leader. Through these experiences, I have learned the importance of working together as a team and showing up for others. I enjoy collaborating with different people and sharing ideas that can make a positive impact. I'm excited to be part of the Yucaipa Youth Advisory Committee so I can help represent other teams in the community and bring positive ideas and energy to the group. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That concludes our report, and we're here if you have any questions.
Any questions from?
Yeah, would you 3 come back up there? I just want to ask a couple questions. Isn't public speaking fun in front of all these people? You guys did great, great. And Skylar, what position do you play?
For baseball?
Yeah, of course.
I'm a shortstop.
Nice, middle infield, love it. And you said you had brain surgery and you're just active and doing great. Good for you, thank God. That's wonderful. And you are definitely focused. Are you going to get in the, Zoe, you're going to get in the medical field? Is that your goal?
Maybe.
We'll see. 4.5? That's possible? Wow. Good job. Well, Dr. Boone's back there. You might want to talk to her. She can recruit you. So excellent. Really, thank you for volunteering and welcome. You guys are going to do a great job, and you're a good representative of the youth in our community. It encourages us seeing you guys come up here, so I appreciate it.
Deputy?
I mean, Sarah, every time you bring candidates before the council, it is incredible. Young man, young ladies, you are incredibly articulate. You're obviously putting your future at the forefront of your planning right now, and that is huge. I think a lot of young professionals wait till they get into a professional capacity to start planning for that, and you are hitting the ground running. So thank you. Brain surgery, you and I, right here, okay? Not everybody here in this room has had upgraded brains like you and I have, okay? So it's pretty important. We're operating on a different level here. I know what it's like to go through that, and it's scary stuff, and it's a testament to your resolve to come out of that better. And one thing I like to do, certainly you three are incredible, but can I please ask the parents, certainly and family of these three, to stand up, please? I think you need to be recognized for your phenomenal job raising some leaders. Thank you.
All right. Judy?
Great presentation. It's always nice to see our young people out getting involved. And I am going to come to one of your meetings. Chris invited me once and it got canceled. But I do want to come and see what exactly you guys do. I'm impressed.
All right, thank you. John?
Looking forward to all three of you serving on the committee. You will make this a better place. So welcome aboard.
Okay, so is there public comment on this?
We do have public comment. Dr. Hanson Wong.
Hanson Wong, District 1, Yucaipa. I'll tell you, first of all, I support all three of these candidates. I think they're great candidates, and that they will be a great addition to the committee. But just to let you know a little bit about the committee, they're well represented. They're better organized than a lot of our other committees. They have a great vision. At the beginning of the year, they present their vision, where they're going to go. Do all of us do that in our committees? Not necessarily. They provide services to the youth, including a week on mental health. And they do this on their own. They have a great ability to bond together. They set up events to help each other bond. And I think if you don't get a chance to come just as a visitor, you should. And I can't speak enough about this committee and about these three additions to it. So I support you guys voting them all in. Thank you.
Yes, I get the honor to sit with these young ladies and young gentlemen and stuff, and I tell you what, it's an excitement every time. They're full of energy. You know, we have Sarah here. She's the glue that holds all our committees together and stuff, and she's extremely phenomenal in this committee and stuff. But you guys got to show up one of these times. Just show up. Hanson has been there. Christine Muller. It's just an incredible time. So you see the energy that these kids have and the compassion that they have. You know, it's phenomenal. So do I have a motion?
I'll enthusiastically motion all three for approval.
I'll second that.
We got a first and a second. All agree?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Can we get a picture with you guys? That was great. Okay, so we'll get with Dr. Moore on Yucaipa RM 124.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to preface this item before I turn it over to the staff to give the details. And what I want to do is go into a little quick background of what's happened, what's led this project to this point, and where we're at statewide, which has impacted the city of Yucaipa. As the council is well aware, there's been a significant amount of transfer of land use authority from local cities and county government to the state level. It's been happening since the Brown administration. It's now happening right before our eyes. There's a plethora of bills that are coming out annually every single year, reducing the city and county's ability of land use authority when it comes to housing projects. This has been happening everywhere, and it's been happening since the latter part of 2015 all the way up until now to today. I can point to numerous examples. First of all, the HCD, Housing Community Development, have a new policing power. They can go after cities, decertify our housing elements, and fine us up to $10,000 a day. They are not messing around. I've been part of several investigations in our previous agency. They hold the city's heart. When you hear staff mention we have to be careful about HCD, we do. They monitor, they have representatives assigned to this area, and they monitor our housing elements. That's their new job. That's their new policing power, and they do enforce it. This item before you is something that's been worked over for many years of the previous housing element, where this developer was able to come in, follow the rules that were already set in place on our previous housing element and zoning code, and bring this item forward. The only authority we have left, which I have a feeling eventually will be taken away from the city and county governments, is architectural design review. They're headed that way. The state of California, in my opinion, my professional assessment of land use, they plan on statewide planning. That's where they're taking us. They want to copy and mimic the state of Hawaii, where land use control is centralized at the state level. So it's unfortunate. It's what's happening today with housing. And really, it's very challenging for staff. Staff have to be careful. I know personally, just from my jobs that I've done in land use, if you say something to them, you deny them, they'll take it right to HCD. You get a letter. There's an investigation initiated. Staff, with regards to this project, followed the rules, protected the city, and did what we had to do to move this project forward legally and appropriately. So I just wanted to give you guys that heads up on where we're at. And that's not with this project, it's with other projects too. We can't go back and change the rules. It's specifically prohibited under the law. You can't tighten the rules on housing projects. You can't restrain them. You can't put any kind of impediments or barriers, or HCD will be on us. And that's Housing Community Development, and they're not messing around. So I'll turn it over to Ben to explain it, the details of this project, but I just wanted you all to be aware in the community what we're up against. And the state of California, as I mentioned, their plan ultimately, I feel, is to put land use authority at the state level and take it away from local control. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Moore, and thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. So kind of a little bit of background. The subject site was designated in the city's as RM 24 a couple of years ago by the City Council. And so this allows high-density residential development as a by right use. The city's RM 24 itself was developed in 2010 as a way to comply with then current state housing law. And it was to provide enough density of units to provide opportunities for affordable housing. It also allows for 3-story units, and also allows for architectural review, which the state does allow cities to opt in for. It's not necessarily required, but is something that the city has taken advantage of. I do want to note just kind of quickly that while we have the RM 24, so 24 units per acre as a base density, technically our jurisdiction would qualify for a 30 unit per acre kind of density, but through the last housing element, we were able to justify a lower density. And so that is something that our neighbors, such as Cal Mesa, do not have. So they do have a higher density for meeting those requirements. And so a project was submitted recently within the RM 24 district for this property. Council may be aware of another project that was originally entitled with this. And that project, through subsequent ownership and other kind of factors that are beyond certainly the city's control, kind of redesigned their site to be compliant, at least with the development code. Another component that they applied is the density bonus law. So the way that that kind of functionally works is if you say I'm going to provide more affordable housing as a deed restriction, then you get a increase in density, and it's a formula through state statute that says if you do this, then you get to do this. Our development code follows the state statute for density bonus on every category. It doesn't provide a more liberal interpretation of that, except for senior housing, where senior housing does have even higher density than what the state law would require. But the rest of it is still consistent there. So we're not granting anything more than state law allows. And so with this project at between 2nd and 3rd Street north of County Line Road, they did submit a project, so their density at 24 units per acre, and the size of it allows for a base unit calculation of 202 units. And so when you apply density bonus above that, if they provide this number of affordable units, they are automatically granted as a by right mechanism under state statute this increase of units. And so they did submit a project for that did comply with the city's objective design standards. And so as part of any housing project, while we don't have a lot of control, we do have some element with our objective standards. And so we have continuously tried to enhance our standards to at least provide some level of assurance on what the project would be, despite all the automatic elements of state law that limit our ability to regulate these type of projects. And so that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions on this or just housing law in general. And certainly we have our city attorney as well.
Okay, can we hear public comment first?
Yes, we have several public comments tonight. We'll start with Judy Main, followed by Randy Main.
My name is Judy Main. I live at 13630 2nd Street. And the project that we're discussing tonight appeared before everyone in 2023. It was called the Fallbrook Meadows, and it was under the ownership name of Premium Land Development. The name of the person bringing this forward was Ivano Steinmegna. The proposal at that time was 200 units at 10% low income. And there were many meetings regarding this project. The owner wanted to put in 8 buildings, all 3-story. And after going back and forth between the Planning Commission, the City Council, back to Planning Commission, finally the owner said, okay, look, I'll bring it down to 2-story, and I will only put in 172 units. Everyone was like, wow, that's really great. You're agreeing to change this project, make the homeowners that all live around it. We all felt at least you're trying to make this work. Well, in 2025, December 17th, it came before the Planning Commission. No one was notified. I was told this is a California state law that after they've notified you once, they don't have to tell you again. No one knew this was going on. No public was present at the meeting. There were no public comments. And everyone was surprised when it showed up in the news mirror about what was going on. It is now called the Yucaipa Investment Group. It's come in under a different name, but if you look, I'm going to read a little bit to the letter of intent sent to the city. It's now still under Ivano Steinmegna, same person. It is not a new owner. Now his proposal is 258 units, 15% low income, 8 buildings, 3-story high, and the building project has completely changed. I would like to just read a little bit from his letter of intent. Although the original, oh, I'm off?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, basically, we feel that it shouldn't have gone through city council in 1 minute. That's all it was. They approved it, and now it has not even come before Yucaipa City Council,
Thank you.
and that's what we've been told. It should be voted on by you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Randy Main, followed by Scarlett, and then Holly Pinson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Randy Main, 13630 2nd Street. So I was at the meeting and I talked with Ivano. I says, you know, maybe if you went from 3-story to 2-story, and then I believe I was the only public input that was yes on it. So they said, okay, we got it 2-story, and I live next door. So I don't know, something happened. It appears to be 3-story now. But anyways, thank you very much. I like you guys. I like Ivano. It's just a little bit different than what it was. But thank you.
Thank you.
Scarlett, followed by Holly Pinson.
Hello, my name's Scarlett. I live at 34912 San Carlos Street in Yucaipa. I'm neighbors with all these people. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I'm here to respectfully share my disapproval of the proposed high-density apartment complex next to our homes. I purchased my home fully anticipating the challenges of the elementary school in my backyard, not the school and an overcrowded apartment complex within feet of my home and neighbors. I feel that the scale of the development is obviously simply not compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. Traffic and parking, I know you guys have heard all of this before. I've been here for a few of the meetings and, said a lot of the same things, but traffic and parking is already a concern with the nearby school. I can only imagine the increase of challenges adding this large-scale complex and what it'll bring. Parents, buses, pedestrians, and these roads daily, or use these roads daily, and adding the traffic from a large apartment complex will significantly increase congestion and safety risks, particularly for the children. The area was never designed to support the high-density housing. The roads, infrastructure, and most of all the character of the neighborhood reflect that. Approving a project of this size would permanently change the environment that we as residents intentionally chose and have worked hard to preserve. I'm a young homeowner, and I do a lot to preserve the look of my house and my neighbors, and I care about the people that I live with and next to. I care about what my home looks like on a daily basis. I have a lot of money into it, and I feel like this is a big challenge to see these things happening. I ask you all to consider the long-term safety, traffic impact, and the character of this community, and to deny the proposal or require a more appropriate, lower density alternative. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Holly Pinson, followed by Elias Aparicio.
My name is Holly Pinson, 34900 San Carlos Street, Yucaipa, California. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. That was really, really good. She covered a lot of what I wanted to talk about. The last time I was here, I was posing this project. It was approved, but the apartments were 172, and it had plenty of parking. My argument for these apartments remain unchanged. We live on a very narrow road of 2nd Street. We have an elementary school, Calamesa Elementary, and a rehabilitation home. When school is out, traffic is a nightmare, and if there was an emergency, the ambulance may not be able to get through. We don't have the infrastructure in place for this project. The roundabouts on County Line on 2nd Street and California Street, why nice as they are, they still get backed up. And this apartment is going to make traffic worse in the surrounding areas as well. The roads were done recently. They were bad with potholes. The roundabouts are already too narrow. Having 258 units, multiple family, is going to have parking issues on our street. Look at any apartment building, there's lines of cars congesting the surrounding streets. We have already a problem with people driving too fast down our street. This will only get worse. We weren't notified about this project this time around. The last time we were here, we all fought. We had this room packed out. Everybody was here opposing this project, and because we knew about it. I ask that you please reconsider and not have this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elias Aparicio, followed by Alec McKinney.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, fellow residents. My name is Elias Aparicio. I live at 34984 San Carlos Street. I'm a third-generation Yucaipan, graduated Yucaipa High School, and I'm an engineering geologist with the County of San Bernardino Planning Division. I'm here to voice my deep disappointment and displeasure with the project and high-density zoning change that was adopted by the city. Our elected leaders have continually failed to properly forecast revenues and allocate expenditures. The result of this has led to city approvals for projects such as this, which will become a burden to the existing residents of the area. The city is relying on quick cash grabs from high-density zoning changes to provide tax revenue to cover the budgetary shortfalls. These projects are short-sighted and will be detrimental to your constituents. Consistent zoning prevents harmful, incompatible land uses from being situated next to each other. It manages growth to ensure that infrastructure, such as roads, schools, and utility services, can support new developments. It maintains the character and values of residential neighborhoods by controlling the type and density of developments, in addition to protecting property values. My neighbors and I on San Carlos Street have a deep concern for what we feel like is a lack of project noticing and disregard for the impact that such a large project in a low-density neighborhood will have. The traffic on San Carlos Street and 2nd Street is already extremely crowded during school hours, and the addition of hundreds of new vehicles on that street every morning creates safety issues for us and our children. The existing crosswalks are faded, inadequately posted, and have no safety lighting or crossing guards, and they present a safety hazard for our children who play in this neighborhood daily. This and other recently approved high-density projects in low-density areas are extremely short-sighted, and they bail out our elected officials from finding long-term sustainable solutions to budget deficits and creates a hodgepodge of high-density housing within low-density areas, which will put more strain on our already failing infrastructure and it will negatively impact our community for decades to come. Projects such as this are in opposition to the will of your constituents and contributes to increased budget shortfalls due to inadequate infrastructure. Despite resounding opposition from residents, the city approved this detrimental project. I implore my fellow neighbors to exercise your rights to replace our ineffectual elected officials come next November. And I can guarantee everyone on this panel that I will be using my professional expertise in doing the county's geotechnical reviews and CEQA reviews, that I will be looking at every project going forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Alec McKinney, followed by Arthur Walter.
Hi, I'm Alec McKinney. I have a stutter, by the way. So it's incredibly hard for me to do stuff like this, but these projects just really make me upset, especially with how much time I spent trying to fight it. And there were nights that we were here until after midnight because so many people showed up against this project. Apparently you guys don't care about that at all, and the building commission at all, which you appoint. Basically, you can't sit there and pretend that you represent us because we all spoke, we all came out. We shouldn't have to be wasting our time here again. But all that you're showing us is that this is a complete waste of time because you don't represent us. You can blame the state of California, which I agree. What they're doing is outrageous, but it's your job to literally fight for us, though. Don't just roll over. And you should do another traffic study as well. Let's not forget that the last traffic study was done, I believe, on July 29th, during the height of COVID. I believe it was 2020 or 2021 on a Sunday, the day when there's going to be absolutely no traffic at all. I don't know how that was accepted and that went through. This entire project just has slime written all over it. So just shame on you, shame on all of you, and also shame on the state of California as well. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Arthur Walter, followed by Joe McKinney.
Arthur Walter, 13428, Mayor, Councilman. What I found here is this is the Planning Commission, and this was the original proposal. It was done in August 3rd, 2022, and what he was proposing was 200 unit apartment complex, and eventually they took and says, no, that's too high density, we don't want it, We had a lot of problems with the traffic and all that, but they finally agreed on 172, which to me was even high. I live right there on 2nd Street, have been there for about 40 years, and took and I can't see how it was high density or overdone then at 200, and now 258 is just dandy. You know, just 86 extra? Yeah, wonderful. And here we are, we're still building right across the street practically from the elementary school. Kids, young kids, that are gonna take and try to cross that traffic. County lines, a mess. They got the roundabouts all right, but they come zooming through. I know I try to get through them once in a while. This whole project is a mess. Why they ain't taking and putting it out on California Street, at least that's 4 wide, and there's just as big a lots up that way. Why they would take and go after this, it's an empty lot so far, and why they can't take and find a better lot than that, right in the middle of what I end up calling the slums of Yucaipa, but oh well. That's why everybody thinks they can get away with this crud. But that wasn't the original proposal. It was 200 units, and that was too high. It was rejected then, and now suddenly, oh my goodness, 258 is just dandy. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe McKinney, followed by Dr. Hanson Wong. Is it Joe McKinney?
John.
John, I apologize.
Yeah, I'm John McKinney. I live at 13518 2nd Street in Yucaipa. My family's been there since 1947. My son, who talked before, a couple times before, he's 4th generation. I'm 3rd. Um, This whole thing was really backdoored, and I don't know how the hell they think they can keep doing that. But I'm going to go back to one really important point, and my son and some other people touched on it. When they did that road study, it was on a Sunday, or on a July afternoon. You don't have any traffic at that time of year. Now, I live at 13518 2nd Street, which is right in front of Calamasa Post Acute, north of it. It takes me 20 minutes to get out of my bloody driveway when there's school in session. Now, that doesn't mean we've got 178 or 258 apartments down the street. When you do that, you're going to gum it up good. Now, my background's medical, and the one thing I was good at was keeping people alive, because I could look at what was going on and I could figure out how to block problems before they came up. I'm good at that. You could talk to anybody I work with, they'll tell you that. And I'd stick my own life on the line, if need be, for other people. I did that when they had the problem at the school with the electrical lines coming down. But the bloody thing is, with the traffic you're going to have, they're not going to be able to get fire department or ambulances in and out there, and I see them 3, 4, 5 times a week. Look it up, you guys have more access to that information. So when you guys kill somebody, or the developers do, you know what? I'm going on record with this, and it means that legally they can come back to this and go, oh yeah, you guys knew about it. Bloody hell, And I've got a really bad arrhythmia right now. The one I had before like this, I was in the hospital for 3 days. If I dropped dead here, I would be happy that at least if I stopped this thing doing what they're doing, it would come to some good. But, what do we have to do to be heard in this town? It doesn't matter if you lived here for a week or a month or, 100 years. We need to have the people in our community, and especially our elected officials, looking out for us. That's about all I got to say. I mean, it's up to you guys, but trouble's coming, and I don't want to be the one to go, oh, I told you so. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hanson Wong, followed by Veronica Levy.
I'll say it again. Hanson Wong, Yucaipa District 1. Thank you again for allowing me to speak on this. I've been told in the past not to be repetitious, so I'm not going to go back through what the other people have said already. And, they live in that area and they have great concerns. I realize that there's certain rules that we have to follow, and the state is pushing for this. But there are some additional things that I should think you would like to consider. Number one, this project was theoretically somewhere around 2022, which might be greater than the 3 years that's required for them to submit an extension. Again, it might not change anything, but at least it would allow the Planning Commission to review this and to see what is appropriate or not appropriate in that area at this time, and what type of infrastructures will the builder and the developer need to support in order to do this. You have appointed people to the Planning Commission that are very well experienced, knowledgeable, and so in some ways, if they're not there for approval, like the only thing they were allowed to approve was the architecture, but perhaps they could just make comments because of their knowledge of real estate and other things that they do to try and help mitigate and make things better for the community, as well as work with the owners. So I would ask that you would consider something like that. We have a 3-year window theoretically between approval and build. A lot of the cities in the state, it's 1 to 2 years, and but they have the ability to extend. So even if we had 1 year or 2 years, the builders and owners could extend depending on the needs, because again, economics, costs of supplies, and so on will affect how they do things. But I think that if we had a shorter time between approval and build, then that way we can relook at things and see, one, how the state looks at things, and that, we have to follow the state regulations, but is there some way we can push back on this to help the residents and help keep the area safer? So just some things for you to consider looking at to try and improve things for our residents and keep things safe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Veronica Levy.
My name is Veronica Levy, and I live at 34947 San Carlos Street. I'm disappointed at these changes that were recently brought up, and it was a struggle to even get to the point of decreasing this high-density original plan back to just 170-plus apartments. So you can just imagine what a disappointment it was to find out in a newspaper that the developer changed the business name, increased low-income housing, and went back to his original plan. I personally feel that's shady, and I felt like you guys had our backs the first time around, and now it's gone. And so I'm just truly disappointed. And I understand the whole rules, state of California requiring so many residents, housing, and all this goodness, but it's just for that location, it's too much. It's too big of a project. So thank you.
Thank you.
We have no more comments on this item.
Okay. Bob, you have any comments?
I'm gonna wait a little bit.
Okay.
I've got a lot.
Okay.
I'm not gonna direct a whole lot of questions at you, Mr. City Manager. You weren't here at the time, but most of my questions will be to our city attorney. But first one to Ben. On such a contentious item, how come the council wasn't notified, or the community, prior to the planning commission hearing this item back in December? And,
So-
and I wanna specifically address the speaker that said, is it true that we hung our hat on, we already told you once, we're not gonna tell you again, is that accurate?
No, so the development code provisions for the RM24 determines that it's a administrative review process. So it is a project decision without notice is specifically called out in the procedures for that. And so once you have a by right land use entitlement, there's no discretion involved. So it does not trigger notice requirements because it's merely do they meet this requirement, and then that is the sole decision that the city has in terms of that project.
So we couldn't notice it even if we wanted to?
No.
We're not allowed to? We couldn't say, understand that you have the right to make these changes, but we're still gonna let the citizens know? We're not allowed to do that? That's a violation of some kind of law?
So the Plan Commission discussion is only limited to the architecture review. They're not discussing the number of units or having discretion over that element. So they don't have any authority to act within that.
I understand that their authority is limited, as is ours, to whether we can approve a project or deny a project based exclusively on the density. My question remains, this was a contentious item in 2023. It seems like the optics are horrible that we're trying to push it through. If truly we have nothing to hide, we can't stop it from happening, folks, but we're letting you know it's happening. Why wouldn't we do that? Maybe that's a better question for the city attorney. Why wouldn't we do that?
Mayor, Council, I can answer some of these questions. So permitted by right, just non-discretionary, does not require to be noticed. The state has taken away that because of the opposition to these high-density projects. They know that it's happened everywhere, so they took away our authority, our ability to notice. However, moving forward and talking with staff and discovered all these things all these issues that have happened with this project, I have directed staff, if there's any changes to these projects, bring them forward to the commission and council for FYI information. No action, but just so you guys know.
Mayor Pro Tem, to follow up on the city manager's explanation, under SB 330, we do have limited numbers of public hearings that we can have for housing projects. And more specifically on this point, when this property was rezoned to RM 24, it became subject to section 840335 of the city's development code. That section, specifically section 2, says multiple family dwelling units constructed in this district shall be permitted by right, pursuant to the administrative review procedures contained in the development code. And so, to answer your question, could we have set this for public hearing? No, we could not.
That was not my question. Not a public hearing. How about a press release? It's happening. You know what I'm saying? Not come and let's hear what you have to say about it. We're letting you know that the state of California has done it again, and your elected officials, as our speaker so aptly pointed out, have not failed you. We were hamstringed by the state government. So in November, when it comes time to vote, whether I'm on the council or not, maybe the state of California should have some seats vacated because we don't have an opinion on the matter. Maybe that's the kind of press release we should be putting out. If we're not allowed to say, hey, come and tell us what you think, we can at least say, here's what happened.
I appreciate that, Mayor Pro Tem. And I was primarily attempting to respond to the public speaker who wanted to know why they received a public hearing notice the previous time and not this time.
Understood.
So, because we weren't allowed to hold a public hearing.
Okay, so my next point, moving forward, one day we're going to have another one of these come forward where they say, we want more. And there's administrative review processes, and we get to say how pretty it gets to look, but nothing about the density. My question is this: do we have any leverage? Because I'm all about fighting the state of California. And honestly, to the speaker's points, you guys tell us how much you want to spend, we'll write a check. $2 million of your money, how much you want us to spend? Because that money has to come from something else, though. So we have to decide, what do we want to cut from and what do we want to fund? And if we want to fund a fight against the state of California, even if we know we're going to lose it, we'll do it. We will have that symbolic fight. Well, let me rephrase, I'm 1/5 of a vote. If I have 2 other people join me and say, you know what, we want to spend millions of your dollars on it, that is the will of the people. How much do you want us to fight? Okay. But in the future, should we decide we're going to take exception to how pretty something is, or say, hey, we'll approve this, but do we have any latitude on saying the infrastructure is not there? The roads haven't been built out to support this, so we'll approve it because we have to, but we're going to post-date that approval. It's approved for you to start building next year, only after we expand the roads, we do something like that. Do we have any leverage in that capacity?
So Mayor, Council, I've talked internally with staff in the city attorney's office. We are going to require, moving forward in any more of these projects, specific plans. So anyone coming forward have to do a specific plan, a mini specific plan on the property. They have to outline densities, zoning, land uses, infrastructure, all of those things you mentioned.
Okay. So I'm glad you said that because my next one is development impact. Why should the citizens of the area specifically, but of the city of Yucaipa, be burdened with their development? How much of it is going to be funded by the development impact that building, that specific project has? We discussed this, I think, in closed session last year. I'm not going to talk about closed session matters, but there was like San Mateo, I think, had a case where they were trying to say, we're going to impose development impact fees on you to redo a project or some roads on the other side of town. And there was some case that said, no, you can't do that. It has to be direct to that area.
Yes, so you're talking about a recent Supreme Court case that looked at ensuring that development impact fees are roughly proportional and that there's a direct nexus.
Correct.
And there was a very large county that was attempting to impose a development impact fee on an ADU and to fund a project clear on the other side of the county using that. So there will be development impact fees from any development project that comes in the city. There is a nexus study that details what the planned uses of those funds are. And so I would, recommend that we get copies of this to the council just so you can refresh your recollection on it. To your overall question, the state housing law is very strict on the significant unavoidable impacts that have to occur to be a basis for having the conversation that I know the community wants to have. Look, this conversation we're having is the exact reason why the state took away our discretion. They knew that projects like this would come forward, you would hear these concerns, and because you were elected to serve your community and you want to respond to their concerns, that you might be tempted to force a reduction in the density. And that's why they took that discretion away. And so you have to have a specific adverse impact. I went through HCD, Housing Community Development Determinations. I looked at a lot of the most common concerns that were raised. Increased traffic. They have not approved a single denial based on increased traffic. The types of things that they do approve denials for are if the layout of the project prevents emergency vehicle access, right? So if you're building apartment buildings and you can't get a fire truck in to fight a fire, and you cannot change the layout, that's the kind of thing that would be approved. If there was insufficient water supply and there was no way to get the water supply to the point where it could serve the project, there was no way to mitigate that. Those are the types of things that they're looking at. And so, while I've heard the community, we all have heard them, and everything that they've said makes sense, those are not the type of things that under state law would allow the city to deny the project.
I'm glad you said firefighting, because my next question is actually to our fire chief. We don't have a ladder truck. How are we going to save lives on a 3-story building if not before this development paying us for a ladder truck? Was it $2 million? Or $200,000? How much is the ladder truck? $200,000?
$2.5 million.
Oh, yes. $2.5 million. So there's that money that you want us to fight for. We have to now try to figure out how to find that money to save a life dangling off of a 3-story apartment building.
Yes. How do we do that?
We would not be able to support life safety services on a 3-story building. We've exceeded our capacity to provide those. I mean, you can build 1 or 2, but we're building. We've met with city staff. We've addressed it in development code. So I believe the project, and Ben could speak to that a little better than I can on the funding part, but would fund a portion of it, but it wouldn't prompt it concurrent with the building of this. So does that not resonate with the state, that we can't build that? We don't have the life-saving equipment to save a life? Should they build? Because we have to.
So, excellent question, Mayor Pro Tem. So the standard that the state applies under the housing, the HAA and SB 330, is that there is the significant adverse impact and that cannot be mitigated. So this can be mitigated. We can fund and purchase a ladder truck. And we in fact have a funding plan to do so. So I get the concern. It's a very serious concern, but my job is to tell you how the state is interpreting the laws that they've passed.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, sorry, I have a list as everybody was speaking, so I apologize. The speaker mentioned specifically tax grabs. Now, I'm gonna say it. I voted no on this project, even at the 172. I was a dissenting vote because my argument has been, since my election in 2020, you need to have a good reason to request a density increase. Like, tell me why. And by the way, your profits are a little concern to me. So if it doesn't pencil, tough luck. You made a bad investment on your purchase, buddy. You should have thought of that. So the fact that they're saying, well, I didn't pencil, so I need to have more houses, no, not good enough. But we've had a lot of discussions about tax revenue on this council. We have had a lot of discussions relative to Measure S. Not one time have I heard any member of the staff say, high-density housing tracts are our saving grace. Can somebody clarify that? Was that discussion, did I miss it? Was I absent for that meeting? Is this a huge tax revenue for us?
No, it would not be. We're not seeking high-density housing for tax revenue. We're seeking commercial development and sales tax opportunities for tax revenue.
And in fact, if I've been following this, property taxes is of little consequence. It's something, but if you look at Calamasa 25 years ago, they were almost home broke because they exclusively built houses, had no commercial revenue to back up their resources. And now since then we've seen their development of commercial infrastructure to support their city. But I recall when I was in high school, literally, I think Calamasa was on the verge of bankruptcy because all they had was homes and property taxes. So while I appreciate the speaker's passion, I reject the notion that this council or even the city staff are somehow in cahoots with developers because we really want these housing projects because we think it's going to help us financially. Again, I appreciate the passion, but I didn't see it there. To everybody's benefit, I wasn't noticed. The planning commission agenda was sent out, but it wasn't something that, again, I made it in my first question. And something as contentious as this, I would have expected to be notified, hey, councilman, something you previously voted no on is coming back by ministerial right, and just give me a heads up, it's happening. So even I wasn't noticed, more than just the agenda item going out the week before. So my last note, fight for them. Next, and I said this at the last meeting relative to the freeway corridor plan. I appreciate everybody coming out and speaking. The line is drawn, I see it, say no. Please tell me not just what not to do. What do you want us to do? The next meeting, come up and say, hey, we want the city to, in our next budget cycle, February is our next budget, we start our mid-year review and we start planning for our next budget cycle. If our constituents say you need to start allocating funding for fighting the state, listen, I can tell you right now, and maybe I can ask our city attorney to review this. We have joined several coalitions for local control. The city of Yucaipa has. We have joined a lot of these efforts. We stopped shy in 2020 at the city's, mostly public speaker's direction of pursuing outright lawsuit against the state. Instead, it was be strategic. On fights you think you can win based on evidence of case law, take those fights. Huntington Beach fights those, they fight them all the time. Google Huntington Beach sues state for housing. But I think, have they prevailed in a single case?
They occasionally win at different levels, but ultimately what you're talking about is challenging a law that is written by the legislature. So the legislature has all the cards in most of these fights.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to win a fight like that.
Yeah, fighting costs money. Let us know how much you want to spend for it, and we'll figure out a way. I welcome public comment at the next meeting relative to that, so we can have some strategic planning relative to funding fights, even if we know we're going to lose them. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Woolsey?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I'd like to say to the people sitting out there, I wasn't on the last council when this was all discussed before, but I do hear, sorry, I wasn't on the council last time when this came up, but I do hear your concerns, and I understand them, and I do care. I want you to know about that. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Moore and the staff for the very informative and concise information that it gave us on a very complex issue. And it certainly helped me understand this, and I hope that maybe it helped you understand it also. I've asked in my meeting this morning with Dr. Moore, I asked to start having workshops, especially for the Planning Commission, for the council, and for the public. We have so many new laws and everything. They change so quickly. We can't keep up with them. And I know it's hard for the staff, and I know the public definitely can't. But maybe if we could start having some workshops to help inform us, it would help us and the Planning Commission to make better informed decisions. It would prevent some of these things. I know that the vice chair of the Planning Commission has requested that also. And I know a lot of people on the Planning Commission are new. They've completed their first year, like I've completed my first year. It's very difficult. There's a lot to learn, and I think it would be very helpful to them. Also, I do have a question. Is there any way, or would it be helpful, if we could possibly offer a full range of zoning densities, such as you start out at RM8 and then go like maybe 10, 12, 14 on up to 24. Maybe that would be a better match for actual proposed projects and would maybe prevent any changes after an approval. Is that possible?
Mayor, council, staff can look into that. But our zoning and general plan are tied to our housing element. So, and on our approval of our housing element, it's tied to that specific zoning. We can certainly look at it, bring something back for, discussion and further consideration. But this, we don't have any information on that right now. We'd have
Yeah,
to research
I
that.
just wanted to put it out there. Thought it was a thought. And then
Yeah,
also.
by the way, and the city attorney reminded me, that specific plan that I mentioned, we're gonna require developers to do moving forward, we'll have that in there. You can ask for that plethora or different various zoning densities within that specific plan.
Okay. And I think we've mentioned it a time or two. Are there any projects now in the works, in the pipeline, that's going to end up like this also?
There are no other projects in the pipeline or that have been relayed to us that would be something like this. We do have a rezone of a site at the corner of Bryant and Oakland Road, but they are doing a specific plan. So rather than a multifamily zoning and saying they're going to do this and then change it later on, it's a much more controlled of a what you see is what you get approach. And so,
Okay.
so they are proposing that, and that will be coming forward to the City Council and Planning Commission in the next few months.
Yeah. Okay. And Councilman Beaver answered a lot of my questions with his questions. And I was hoping that he would, because I knew he was on that council. And you were also, weren't you? And John, I think, maybe. So thank you for the questions.
Thank you.
Go back real quick.
Okay.
Never mind, I lost it. If I think of it again, I'll come back to it though.
Bob?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. Most of it's been covered by the council. I said a couple questions for Dr. Moore and/or Ben. This gets brought in front of us, and it says, provide further direction to staff. Yet the staff report's brought to us and says, basically, you can't do anything. Can you explain that?
Yes, Mayor, Council, I've asked staff to provide, not box in the council, to provide additional information, maybe some ideas. So if you want to provide additional updates, or things that we need to incorporate in land use that you're thinking about, but we are boxed in on this development. But moving forward on any staff report, we're going to try to provide you guys a buffet of options, as well as provide further direction to staff should you deem so.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've kind of been talking about, and I appreciate that, Dr. Moore. But, listen to the citizens tonight. I mean, it sounds like political speech to them because they're concerned about the project now. I mean, I keep hearing it went from 172 to 200 plus. There was a notice originally with Planning Commission. They got to go and speak their piece, and then all of a sudden, one day notice, and the project approved for something else. We call it use by right. Is that correct, Ben? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they just basically changed it. I could understand why they're upset. I don't know whether it's true or not. Tell me, by the EIR, was the traffic study done during COVID when school was out?
So the traffic study, and I did kind of pull it up, was not done in 2020. It was done in 2021, and it was supposed to be during a school year during the weekday. At least when I'm reading through the traffic study assumptions, I do want to note, just as part of traffic study preparation, it does recognize a little bit that school hours represent a unusual kind of thing, so traffic engineers kind of design around that. And then lastly, as part of the California Environmental Quality Act, in of itself, level of service, so that the traffic implications to the roadway is not a threshold that cities are able to apply in the environmental review anyways, but it was provided as part of the analysis for that study when it was done.
Well, I was thinking of pick up and drop off, and then with the 200 plus units, how many students are going to increase? Who's going to go to that school? What's that going to look like? I mean, it's all them other unintended consequences that come out of this. And then, hearing this now, the notification issue is definitely an issue for the residents. They should have known. They would have showed up, I think, and they would have voiced they would have voiced their opinion. Now it comes in front of the council, and we really doesn't look like it looks like we're hamstrung through. It was very much explained by Mayor Pro Tem Beaver about our state, in their wonderful wisdom, hamstringing us on this because certain cities have handled it different ways. Kind of when you tell the public that, sometimes they just say, well, that's political speak. But no, it's reality. So what do we tell them tonight? In reality, yeah, we sympathize with you. In the future, we're going to do something else. You know, I saw this when I read the staff report. It said provide further direction. I was going to send it back to study it further and what options could we possibly do. But listening to our city attorney tonight, doesn't sound like you can do much legally. Am I correct, city attorney?
I think that's accurate. I wouldn't want to give the council or the public the false impression that if we go back and I open the right legal book, that the magical answer that can, you know, terminate this project is there. It's not. Our position on this is extremely limited by state law and our zoning code.
You know, and obviously, three of us are, you know, have a public safety background. Can you get a fire truck in there? Can you get to the third floor? Can we get, if there's a major emergency, can you get all the units in there? Can you get the police cars in there? Some, you know, we have a serious, can all that be handled? You know, we hope that is all managed. But these are the things that come up. They're, you know, they're high-risk, low-frequency events. And when they happen, you hope you can take care of them things. So, I understand where the residents are on that. But it's hard for us to sit up here and say, well, we can't do anything. They don't want to hear that. You know, clearly, I wouldn't want to hear it if I'm sitting there. You know, they have, you know, some expectation that the council can do something. And I don't think we're offering anything other than, hey, we're going to do better on the next project. You know, I could see where there would be some frustration. You know, just looking at just some of the things that were said, I don't know how many are represented on the street. We can't take questions right now. It's just during public comment, but thank you. Maybe, you know, we usually don't do it that way. We have public comment. We don't do a banter back and forth, but I don't know, unless you want to, we don't want to change the rules, but he had his hand up back there, that's why. So, it's just inherently interesting how government works sometimes. Here you have a situation, there was an expectation from the residents that actually live there and have to deal with what's going to happen, RM24, which means more units, and they come to the government, they think they're going to be part of the solution, and it's just going to happen. And then we say it's a state issue. So I don't even know what to tell you, other than we're going to do something better in the future, but how does that help you? I'm just being honest, because it sounds like we're hamstrung. And, you know, well, let's hope it's a beautiful project if it's gonna continue. The fire truck, you know, we've talked about that, Chief, you know, because we've had other plans of other buildings. You know, I'm not a big fan of 3-story buildings, to be honest with you, without the wherewithal to deal with them. We have to have some safety measures to deal with that. I know Mayor Pro Tem and I have talked about that before. We've got to get that before we start building that stuff, but then we have development issues that are pretty much they can do it. So, okay, you know, we got to follow the rules. So, which has to do with everything we're doing, development all over the town. So, I don't want to go on and on. That's where we're at. You're here tonight. You want some answers. I don't even think we can't even overturn anything. Am I right?
No, you would not be able to overturn it.
Okay. So the point is mute. I'm sorry. We understand, but we're just going to have to do better later, is what it sounds like to me, just speaking plainly. And thank you for the time, Mayor.
Thank you, Bob.
So we have, Chief, I won't ask you to come back up to the mic, but just from where you're at, you're gonna have to sign off on this before they can occupy, right? As a fire chief, like you're gonna have to say, yeah, this is safe. We can deal this. Are you not able to do that right now?
Yeah. So it would go if there's everything within code, it would go to the fire marshal. If it goes past where he can't sign, and there's a lot of code where it's not at his level, it would go to me as the fire code official. Correct.
So right now with our current equipment, would you sign off on occupancy?
They're not mutually exclusive to each other. So when we design a building, we look at fire flow formula. So like, can we, engineering, can we provide the amount of water to this building and fire protection systems to build the building? That's not mutually exclusive to, can we now operationally apply it? So can we do the pre-side? Yes. Can we do the actual apply that? No, because we don't have the right resources. So it's not within code to deny it because of that. That'd be more of a development issue in our city, which is why we've started that whole process.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to ask is this, and I hope I have support of the council. We'll do what we can without spending money. Can we, number one, is there any way we can, look, I get asking the state for anything right now, but hell, let's try. We had a sort of a housing element without these density increases. Like we're based on everything we have currently laid out, we're good. So anything extra, is that just greed by the state saying, yep, let them have extra? And can we seek any type of relief from HDZ saying, hey, listen, you should reward cities that have a certified housing elements by saying, you're no longer required to comply with SB 330 because you've already met you've theoretically met your housing density if building happens. Again, I'm trying to get creative. If there's any way we can draft letters, it doesn't hurt to ask, hey, listen, you're killing us here. We did everything we needed to do. We got a certified housing element, and you're still just jamming it down our throat extra. So I'm gonna ask if maybe we get creative on again, it's just a letter, doesn't hurt to ask, number one. Number two, if you could please bring back any type of, any more. I know we've already joined, I think Hawthorne was leading the cause on a coalition for local control. If you know of any other non-costly joining letters that we as a city can join and maintain a list of that. And then I'd also ask Mr. City Manager if you could please provide a report through our planning department. Can we? I want to know how many vacant homes currently sit in the community. If we look at our top executive in the nation going in a World Leader Summit saying, homes are for people, not for corporations. I want to know how many corporations have bought up Yucaipa homes and they're currently sitting vacant until such time as they can leverage the most money out of them. Do we truly have a housing crisis, or are we looking at outright greed with vacant homes owned by banks and corporations, not owned by American taxpayers? I'd like to know that, please, in one of the upcoming meetings. So joining letters, is there any way we can it sounds like this one's already done, but moving forward, we have a certified housing element. Leave us alone. We did what we had to do. No more bonus density grabs. Leave Yucaipa the hell alone. We did what you asked us to do. So now you're just being greedy. And certainly November is coming fast. There are more conservative candidates on the ballot. Tell your neighbors. If somebody, this is a particularly big matter for the state. If somebody's not campaigning on a state level to overturn some of this RENA nonsense, let's not give them a seat at the table.
Mayor Count.
Thank you.
Mayor Council, we certainly can put together the report and the adjoining letters and then bring something back to you for your reconsideration. And again, I just want to thank everyone for all the comments. And I just want to reiterate that the state, and you hit it on the head, and Council and Mayor, I just want to hit it. They set it up with the RENA numbers. They changed all the public safety codes to favor developers. They've been working at this for over 10 years at changing the structure of the state and how land use works for high density. So you're right, when the residents are pointing out all these things, they've been setting this table for many years. I sat in a meeting at HCD up in the Bay Area, and I saw them doing it in 13 and 14. I was especially invited by the governor's office to sit in on how they develop their strategies. And I saw what they were doing. They started with CAL FIRE, they started with the general plan amendment changes. That's how they worked it in, and then they slowly worked it into state law. They've been working this for many years, but we'll definitely, certainly bring back these items that you requested for reconsideration, so thank you.
So nothing we can do, but we can kind of try to make it a little bit hard on them. Can we put signs up around these people's houses and stuff for no parking out? No parking signs, or because if they're gonna increase the pardon? They increase the density of there and stuff. There's parking issues and stuff, and I don't want this group of residents to be impeded by that.
Well, Mayor, Council, we can definitely look at that, the parking requirements. We have to follow the vehicle code on that, or establish our own parking districts. We can look at that, and then I can work with the Sheriff's Department and Public Works, and we can work on some signage and no parking. So we can definitely look at any of our right-of-way encroachment areas as well.
Great. Also, RM24, I mean, is that something that Ben, you can approve? I mean, can you guys approve on your own without?
So what staff brought up to everyone's attention We don't have any discretionary authority. Staff has to approve it basically at staff level over the counter. So we can't bring it back. However, as we mentioned to the mayor and council, we will bring these items back as they change, if they change them, and we're also requiring specific plans too. We have to be careful because we're walking a fine line with HCD. And I wanted to just point out, and I know the committee wants to really go at the state. I do not like the state. I'll say it. They know I don't like them. My previous jurisdiction, we went after them. The city attorney knows that. But I would definitely, we have to be careful because we have a city nearby where my previous jurisdiction, they decertified their housing element and worse consequences have occurred. It's called builder's remedy, and we have to be careful. If we get a decertified housing element, the builders can come into Yucaipa. There's nothing we can do, and they can build huge story monstrosity developments. They're doing that all over the state. So we just have to be careful. We'll definitely bring these items back forward and push back, but we just got to be careful on that fine line. And again, on the RM zoning, it's allowed by right, but if they go exceed the plan that's originally approved, we're going to bring it back as a FYI to the council in the committee so you guys know about it.
All right. Thank you very much. Now we're going to move on to ordinance title change. Oh, I'm sorry. Miss Anna?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Item number 5 for you tonight is an ordinance changing the title of Mayor Pro Tempore to Deputy Mayor. This item was requested at the January 12th regular City Council meeting. Mayor Venable requested that staff return with a discussion item for the purpose of changing the title at the request of Mayor Pro Tem Beaver. I don't have a presentation for you tonight. This is a council-driven item, so I will turn it over to you for your discussion. If the council chooses to move forward with that option, we would ask that you approve the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 478, making those changes, and also authorizing staff to carry out the necessary steps to ensure that the title is changed everywhere. Our municipal code, our policies, our resolutions, everything going forward. So I'll turn it over to you for discussion.
Any discussion? John?
No, I'll just let you guys talk about it. I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah.
Ms. Woolsey?
I was going to move that we approve 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Bob?
Yeah, I just had a couple questions for the city clerk. In the Inland Empire, how many, it's predominantly Mayor Pro Tem. I mean, it's the same duties. How many, what are the numbers for Mayor Pro Tem or Vice Mayor?
Yeah, so if we're looking in the Inland Empire, if we're looking at Riverside County for Mayor Pro Tem, we have 25 cities. Vice Mayor, we have 2 cities, and there are no cities that use the title of Deputy Mayor. If we're looking at San Bernardino County, we have 22 cities using Mayor Pro Tem, and we have 3 cities using Vice Mayor. Once again, no cities using the title of Deputy Mayor. I think I did reference in the staff report a few cities that use the title of Deputy Mayor. Those are more commonly the larger cities, City of Los Angeles, City of Long Beach, some of the larger cities. But here in the Inland Empire, there's no cities that are using Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, in discussion, I just want to ask why we're doing it. Why are we making the change? Or why would we want to do it? I mean,
Well,
nothing changes, you know, it's the same duties.
I don't speak Latin. They didn't teach me that in school. I'm also a graduate of YHS, go T-Birds, but they didn't have Latin then. I don't know if they're teaching that now. It's confusing. There's only 2 people on this dais that have sat in this seat. People ask I get asked all the time, did you?
All the time.
What is that? What's a Mayor Pro Tem? They think it's I don't know what it is. Just as it says in the staff report, it is intended to what do you say? To provide clarification on the matter. That was the only, and honestly, at the end of the day, if it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass. It's just, and my request was to have it, to clarify the position. Again, you said it, it changes nothing relative to any more authority. The mayor is still the mayor. The mayor pro tem or deputy mayor still presides in his absence. And that's it, just an effort to kind of update, bring things. This is an old title used from a long time ago, and yes, just that it's in order to provide clarification. Per the staff report, Oceanside, Del Mar, Chula Vista, Solana Beach, Poway, San Marcos, Ventura, El Cajon, and Encinitas. Encinitas. Oh, that's an I. So that was my only request. It's confusing to people. They don't know what a mayor pro tem is.
Yeah, I got that quite a bit, honestly. I mean, but if it passes, great. If it doesn't make any difference. It's just more clear. Everybody that you go to all the different meetings and everything like that too, and they're like, "What's the mayor pro tem?" I'm like, kind of like the second guy in charge. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's what it means. So, the deputy mayor, when you explain it like that, people know it's oh, you're the second. So,
I think it's just updating things, bringing it into this generation.
Well, I'll probably be the unpopular one on this. If you look at the Inland Empire, it's mayor pro tem. This is just a title. And we've got more important things to do, council. We don't need to change a title. So I'm pretty neutral on this, so I'll be abstaining. I'll be honest with you. It's very common. It's mayor pro tem. Everybody knows what it is that's in this business. But if you want to change it, then you guys decide what you want to do, but I'll be abstaining on it.
We got a first.
Yeah, I made the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
All opposed?
No.
Abstain.
So it passes. All right. Anna, you're back up again.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 6 for you tonight is resolution number 2026-02, setting the 2026 council meeting schedule. This item is typically something that comes before you in December. We typically add this to the consent calendar. However, we are adding it to your discussion calendar tonight because we need some further direction. The resolution is currently proposing that the city cancel 3 meetings. The May 25th City Council meeting, because City Hall is closed in observance of Memorial Day. July 13th, historically the city has observed a summer recess and goes dark, 1 meeting in the summer. And then December 28th, 2026, City Hall will be closed in observance of the winter closure. So the resolution before you tonight is proposing the cancellation of those 3 meetings. We do need direction on the first meeting in October. That does fall on a city holiday. So if you turn to page 84 of your agenda packet, you have 3 options there. You can cancel this meeting. City Hall is, once again, it's closed in observance of Columbus Day. You can meet on that day, but the city council would need to keep in mind that we would be required to provide compensation to the hourly employees who are required to be here on that day, or the city council can schedule that meeting for the following Monday. By doing so, then the city council would meet on back-to-back Mondays. That option is not ideal for staff, just for the purpose of publishing the agenda and getting things ready. However, we will make that happen if that's what the council chooses. So this resolution is before you tonight for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
All right. Well, thank you. Miss Judy?
Well, I'm sure you all remember that I think it was August, we had a conversation about our council meetings. And you all remember that I firmly believe that we need to have 2 meetings a month. However, the way the holidays follow this year, I could go with May, July, and December. I would be open to that. I would have no problem with that. As far as October goes, I think we could do one of 2 things. We could maybe not even make a decision for October right now and wait till like the end of August and see what our workload is, what's going on, and then decide what we want to do, if we would want to go ahead and maybe just schedule the meetings back to back. But, my my opinion would be, go ahead with the 3 and leave October open. That would be my motion.
All right. John?
I agree with the recommendation to cancel the 3, and then, for city council member standpoint, I think if we did it on a Monday, we're already used to coming in on Mondays. If we did it back-to-back, it'd be a little odd, but I think I would prefer that. However, if we're being considerate to staff, I would be open to doing another day of the week, but depending on where that falls and how that falls with my work schedule, I may or may not be able to be a part of it. So, that would be my only caveat. So I'm open to either one, but if it's not on a Monday, there's a good chance I may have a hard time making it.
All right. Bob?
I'm fine with Councilmember Woosley's suggestion.
Deputy?
Yeah, I think we should, I agree with Councilmember Woolsey. I think for the sake of this meeting, though, we should vote to have, we should schedule it so it can be forecasted, and if we decide to cancel it, so be it. But I agree with Councilman Thorpe. I don't think we should do it on another day of the week. I also don't think it's fair to require our city employees who have this federally recognized holiday off to come in so that we can have a meeting. So I think we should, option 3, move it to the October 19th for back-to-back meetings on a regular workday, with the understanding that should we get to find ourselves in August or September and we decide that our workload allows for us to cancel for the Columbus holiday, we will do that.
So then to clarify, you're saying go ahead and do the back-to-back.
I think we should, and for sake of planning, so that we can know what our year looks like, we should schedule it now. And again, should we find ourselves in a position where we can cancel it, we can cancel it then.
Okay, I can go with that.
All right. So you want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right.
I'll second.
We actually already had a motion on the floor by Councilmember Woolsey.
Can I withdraw that then, or how do you do that? Just with, approve the 3?
You just did.
I just did.
Okay. So we have a motion by Deputy Mayor, and we have a second?
Yes, I
by
second.
Ms. Woolsey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Now it's Councilman's business report. Any comments or requests? Bob, you want to start with you?
Oh, nothing specific. I just wanted to make a point. I want to thank you guys for voting for the extra fencing at the varsity baseball field. I was there, they've already started their preseason, varsity, and I was there Saturday morning, and there were balls being hit where they normally would go into the stands and nail somebody. They were all blocked. So thank you. We saved injuries. So thank you for doing that for the varsity players and the fans there. Thank you. And we got to go to the bundt cake opening. And they did a great job. They got great cakes there and good stuff. Councilman Woosley was there also, and it was really, really a good opening. And I wish them great luck, great food. I hope they do real well there.
Thank you.
Attended in my capacity as the representative to the Crafton Hills Conservancy. I attended their monthly meeting in January. There's some good stuff coming out of that conservancy relative to some mountain bike races. They're in the process of planning for springtime. And speaking with some of the members, there was some historic references to the Y on the mountain. I brought it up. If anybody who's lived in this community for a long time remembers, there was a Y on the Crafton Hills north of 7th Street. It was there for my entire time growing up. In fact, if you look on some, when the vegetation's down, the bones of it are still etched into the mountain. A lot of people think that I'm referencing the Y behind the high school that lights up during Friday games. That was added for some historic reference. That Y was added following the development of Chapman Heights Road in circa 2005, I believe, as a way of highlighting Yucaipa High School. Previously, any alum from the 90s and early 2000s, the senior class would go and publicly deface with rah-rah school home T-Bird pride, giant water tower that was on the hill. And it was a tradition that was passed down from senior to senior. Phil, did you ever partake in that vandalism? You liar. Yeah, you did.
No idea what you're talking about.
So it was a tradition for Yucaipa High School seniors to go up there and paint, class of 90,
94 was, it happened a couple times in 94 for sure.
Said 82. I heard it. Class of 82. All right. So it was a tradition for students to go up there and paint their class number on it and have some pride of their, you know, be true to your school. That went away when the Chapman Heights Road was developed and the Y that we currently know was placed there. However, and speaking with Ray Casey, Chris Mann, Jennifer Crawford, and now I will have the conversation with our city attorney, or sorry, our current city manager, Dr. Moore. There is significant interest from the Crafton Hills Conservancy to replace the original Y that is still on the mountain. So that is something I'll be working with that Conservancy board on. It's something that was, if you grew up here, you've seen it. It was just some pride in your foothills that you could see it from all over the valley, the Green Valley. So that's on the horizon. Lastly, I worked with city staff. I'm proud to say I worked with city staff to help one of our small businesses in the Uptown overcome some obstacles. We are certainly a pro-business community. We want small businesses to exist. We want you to follow the law. Our municipal code has specific provisions relative to signage and some safety provisions for restaurants. But let it not be said that our city is anti-small business. We're willing to work with you and get you up to code so that you can be a productive business. And like I said, I'd rather have a business that is working towards compliance than driving them out of business. A vacant, incompliant business does nothing for our tax revenue. So thank you, Dr. Moore, and your staff's work for getting that business up to compliance and working towards being a productive tax-generating business in our community.
All right, thank you. John? Ms. Woolsey?
On the 13th, the ribbon cutting for the Wild Wings. That was fun. On the 14th, I attended the Inland Empire Skag Housing Workshop in Riverside. And I think you guys got a report on that. I sent it to the manager. It was very interesting. They had the planning commissioner from Ontario and was it Menifee? No, I forget the other one, but much of the discussion involved around infrastructure, you know, just how much it costs and how big of a problem it is. So on the 20th, the Water District meeting, and on the 22nd, we did the bundt cake ribbon cutting, which was fun. And then that evening, I also attended the SAPA, which is Santa Ana Water Power Authority 50th anniversary event. And I went to that because I am on the Oh Wow steering committee, which is part of that. So it was interesting to hear the background of that organization and everything. So I do have one comment or question. The netting is in place at the ball fields?
It's a fencing that we're able to pay for, just the fencing. It's raised is what it is, not netting.
Wasn't that the grant or something that we were applying for?
No, they've only been able to pay for the fencing.
Oh, okay.
Not here, but
Okay, it's not.
they can afford it
Okay.
at this point. But
All right.
it works.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It works.
Great.
That's it? All right. Well, I did as well go to the Buffalo Wild Wings grand opening. I didn't go in. I wanted to, but I didn't. Yeah. But also Youth Advisory, I think we're only missing one more candidate. So if anybody knows a candidate, they can come and join us. It's a fantastic time and stuff. And do we have on the Park and Recreation, did we fill that one? I thought we did. And so we stole that young lady. Oops. I'll keep it on the down low, sorry. Anyways, we do have arts, what's in May? The festival in May. Music and Arts. We have that coming up, so looking forward to that. So, all right. Now, next, City Manager, you have any announcements?
Just one, Mayor and Council. We do have a ribbon cutting this Thursday for that business in question that's brought up on, and it's on California Street. It's called Bourbon.
Bourbon Street?
Yeah, Bourbon Street.
Yeah, thank you.
Food smells good there.
All right. Next regular City Council meeting is February 9th, 2026, 6 p.m. Now it's 8:06 and our meeting's adjourned. Thank you.